What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back again with some more qualifying analysis. This week we are at the Porsche Cup at Francorchamps. This actually is going to be my best qualifying of the entire week and maybe one of my best laps of Spa in this car ever, including all of the past seasons. So we're going to be taking a look at my qualifying lap and then comparing it to the pole position lap and see what we could potentially learn for the future. Now, last week we did do this as well with the Super Formula Lights at Spa. In that video, I reviewed my lap and then reviewed the pole lap and then did a side-by-side comparison to cap off the video. This time we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. I'm going to make a little tweak that I think I wish I would have done last week, which is we're going to watch my lap, we're going to watch the pole lap, and then we're going to watch my lap again, and then instead of pausing a lot on the pole lap, I want to talk about the major differences that I saw in my lap versus their lap. And so let's kick things off with my qualifying lap here at Spa-Francorchamps. But before we do jump in, if you haven't already, subscribe down below. It really helped me out. You join our little community that we're building here around sim racing. It's a hobby that I've been enjoying for the last couple of years, and I would love to share it with you as well. But let's go ahead. Let's get this party started by taking a look at my qualifying lap. Alright, so here we are jumping on board with my qualifying lap. This was my second lap of the two. We're refraining from showing the time until it's over in this one because I want to just really review the lines in the gearing and see exactly what we could do potentially better. This was a qualifying session from my best race of the week. You'll be seeing the full race that came from this qualifying tomorrow. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already to see where this qualifying lap takes us. But it's something that I know I need to get better at in terms of, really trying to take advantage and climb the ranks of, gaining I rating and safety rating and all of that, because I know qualifying better can really just lead to better races. Obviously, starting at the front, you get a better opportunity of missing out on a lot of the carnage that might happen in a turn one scenario. And so obviously, improving your qualifying starting further forward is definitely going to help you in the long run. But taking a look at what we see here already, we can see that my first lap's time was a 2:24.28. I think normally my strategy with qualifying is my first lap is going to be a bit of a banker lap, not taking overly, too many overt risks, and really trying to just, get a time on the board. Obviously have a time on the board is better than not. And then it's the second lap that we really start to push it. I think we also get to take advantage of the fact that taking it a little easier on the first lap gives me more tire for the second lap to really push it in. And so as we head towards Francorchamps and eventually the bus stop, we're coming home to finish our qualifying lap, and we're going to jump into the pole position qualifying lap here next. But first, we're going to watch Francorchamps, we're going to watch the bus stop, we're going to see our final time here on the dash, and then we'll jump over and watch the pole lap. But our final little uphill chicane, this last little corner always gives me a lot of issues, as you can see there, getting a little bit of oversteer. But as we come up to the line, straight lining it, we have a 2:22.82. My best qualifying lap here at Spa by far. But with that said, let's go ahead, let's jump on into the pole position lap. Alright, we're jumping on board with Zachary here to watch his pole lap, and I'm definitely going to be focusing more on his lap than I did with mine, because I think there's a lot that we can learn here. I'm going to throw out some points while we go into some more in-depth things when we get back to my lap. But first things first, it was definitely much different entry into turn one, staying very much to the left and really straight lining this all the way up Eau Rouge through Raidillon. I think this is going to be a big change in terms of, carrying the speed all the way down the Camel Straight, all the way towards the Combe, and it's going to carry. It's going to matter. Now all these cars have very similar top speeds, but at the same time, it's all about carrying the speed, and he does a great job here of using the curbs to his advantage. You know, getting up on the inside of the curve, shortening the track as much as possible, and trying to keep his minimum speed up as much as possible. Now, he and I kind of take a very similar line through here, this off-camber, downhill right-hander. But this corner is one that always gets me, as we saw in my lap. It's just, I have no confidence through there. But very, very neat, very tidy. On the way down towards Puan, we're going to get a little bit of an engine brake, probably a little bit of a trail brake on the way in. Actually, relatively smooth through there. I think my lap ended up being a little bit more, I'm not gonna use violent as a descriptor for it, but it was definitely a little more spirited, as I will choose to say here. Very clean through here, using all of the track available to him. This corner also gives me a lot of issues, but looks like he navigated it all right. And then entering the final back straight here. This was another one that I really struggled with, even on this, you know, my best qualifying lap I've ever had. Really struggled with commitment in some of these corners, and I think it really showed by the time this one ended. I think this one is going to be a lot tighter than the Super Formula Lights race we did last week in the qualifying analysis we did there. But I'm still very interested to see the big difference, and I think a lot of it is going to really come down to confidence on the car, really getting the rotation out of the corners, and then just having the confidence to jump into onto the gas. So if we pause the video here, we can see he had a 2:22.51 here on the dash. And so this is definitely a situation where it's relatively close. So if we jump back onto my onboard, we are over here. We'll just jump it back to the scenic. As we take a look at the results here, my time of a 2:22.820 was just off of the pole time that Zachary had at a 2:22.516. So we ended up qualifying in third in this race. So just about 3/10 off the pace. And now let's jump back into my lap again, and let's talk about the major differences that we saw from our lap versus Zachary's pole position lap. All right, we're back already looking at my lap once again. And the first thing that I want to notice is my entry into one versus theirs. You can see we really hit more towards the middle of the track. And I think that really, really compromises our exits coming out of one. Now, in terms of a racing line, I don't think that hugging that left curb and then really opening up and straight lining turn one is as feasible. But at the same time, in qualifying, I think it definitely is going to make a big difference. And then as we make our way down towards the Camel Race, towards the Combe, the next thing I want to say was really opening up the corner, in which we kind of really hug it and actually float a little into the corner on braking. And so I think we're really leaving a lot of momentum on the table there, not utilizing all of the track available to us, and then we're not able to really take an entry and carry more speed. And then this is kind of the same thing. I think kind of just floating more towards the middle of the road and then hugging it just a little short. I think there's a way to carry a lot more speed. And then here you can see I understeer basically all the way through this corner. Missed the apex by a little bit. Really struggled to get back on the power as quickly as possible. And then here it's probably a little bit more violent of a break, and you can see the understeer I was dealing with here. And just I think a bit of scrubbing the tires just a bit too much. And I think we're going to suffer from that the rest of this lap. And I think you could just tell that I was just pushing wide on a lot of these corners, just begging for a little bit more grip, really struggling to get the rotation through the corners and to really be able to open up the throttle. And so I think a lot of this could be solved by maybe a little less steering input earlier in the lap. Keep the temps down. Actually, that exit I was pretty happy with. But there's a lot of little things. I think it's a lot of corner entry is a big thing. Utilizing more of the track, really widening the available, the available surface area to us. Because I mean, it's there for us to use. Might as well use it. Like here, coming out of Blanchimont, we really pushed the exit there because we know, we know the car can take it. And then the bus stop, I think, is a big example of overslowing the car. And then coming out, I chose to come out in second gear, but then just not being confident enough to open up the corner and get on the power and straight line it as much. So it was definitely, I think, a lot of very simple things that we could do better. But in the future, I think one of the things I'm going to definitely be focusing on a lot more, not only in this series, but in every series, as this kind of series is what I'm really hoping to use this for, right? Is find the things that I know I could do better at, and then apply it to all of the series I can. Obviously, opening up corners, using all of the available track width to my advantage is not just a Porsche Cup at Spa specific thing. I think in terms of this qualifying, I don't know if there was much more I could have done outside of just getting those last couple of things just right. You know, obviously not wasting some time, not necessarily having the right angles coming out of corners, not getting the rotation into corners. And so I think a lot of this could be solved with just a lot of practice and just a lot of those little things. But let me know down in the comment section below what you saw that I missed, because please let me know, because I will definitely use it to my advantage going forward. This is a good second take, I think, of what we saw at our qualifying analysis. So I'm also looking for a lot of feedback on what you guys think could be better for next week's as well. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this. We are going to end the video off with another side-by-side comparison. I really enjoyed this from last week's episode. I think it was really interesting to be able to see the speed difference through corners, the difference in lines, as well as see where exactly you're obviously losing the most time. It was a little more obvious last week, but this week it'll be a little closer, and so it'll be very interesting to see these two laps synced up and see quite the differences between Zachary's lap and my own. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be back again next week with some more qualifying analysis and more iRacing action. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like rating. It'll really help me out. And share it with your friends if they think that they could get something out of this kind of analysis as well. But guys, once again, subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single upload. And I'll see you guys in the next one.